another opportunity that helped me grow the financial planning practice and became a side hustle, which ended up becoming my main hustle to this day.
And I've seen you write for huge websites. Like, how do you get so well connected like that? Do they just find you, or are you like reaching out to them?
That was a lot of networking, a lot of building connections with other personal finance bloggers, journalists. And initially, gosh, I'm trying to remember, like getting on Forbes, being able to write for Forbes, like that was a big deal. And I struck out twice. And I had there was two people that I connected with, and one of them was people may know him, they may not know him. Like his name is Noah Kagan.
Oh, yeah.
He is the CEO of AppSumo, or I guess now Sumo.com. He was Facebook employee like number 20 or 30 something, and like he even introduced me to his Forbes editor and ghosted, didn't get a response. I had somebody else who also was already a contributor for Forbes, try to connect me to their editor, ghosted. So it was like my third attempt at somebody else that was also writing for Forbes. And she even helped me almost like draft like my resume of it's like what ideas are you going to bring, but also like how many eyeballs can you bring to their platform. So finally, like the third attempt, I got accepted years ago. That was years ago now. But before all that, like I remember I started writing for, and I can't remember the site now. It was not Experian, but it was like, it might be like a tax blog. And they were paying me like $50 to write a 500-word article. But it was like a Fortune, 500, maybe like a Fortune 1000 company. Like it was a recognizable name. And that was just one of those stepping stones of, yeah, I will do it just so I can get my byline. There were other platforms, sometimes they wouldn't even pay you, like Huffington Post, when they used to allow you to write for them, they didn't pay you. Like you'd have to write 5,000 word article. So, which for me, that's like a half a day's work, if not longer. Yeah. And so, but you would do this just as a way to say, hey, I was published on such and such platform. And it was doing those little things along the way, kind of build up your resume to all of a sudden now you get into Forbes, and then you get into Business Insider. And then somehow I got nominated to be on like the CNBC Financial Advisor Digital Council, which is something that once you've done it, like you can't take it away. So like any opportunity that I could write for a site, like I was willing to figure out a way, whether that was me writing it or hiring a writer to help me complete the article, just so I can get get that byline.
So I know real estate is not your main thing, but have you done real estate at all? Like have you dabbled in buying properties or anything?
So my father-in-law back in the day, I'm not sure if he did this on his own. So there's this guy, and you might be familiar with him. I don't know if he's still around. His name is Carlton Sheets.
Oh yeah.
And so he had like this infomercial, and you could buy like this 12 CD set, an audio CD to listen to all his secrets about real estate investing.
I think that was actually
my father-in-law.
I think that was like the first thing I ever bought off eBay. It was from like the early 90s. I mean, it was just ancient by today's standards. And yeah, I remember his infomercials for sure.
Oh yeah. So my father-in-law bought it, and I don't even know why he bought it, but I remember he let me borrow it. And I listened to all 12 audio CDs, and I was all in. So we had this master plan because he was really good at fixing things, building things, and he kind of saw me as the money guy. So like we were going to do this partnership, and we just started looking at properties, and we were looking at HUD properties, like made an offer on that. We unfortunately didn't get it. And I was driving all around Southern Illinois. And this is, I was probably an advisor now for, I guess like 3 or 4 years. Probably, I think my 4th year of being an advisor. And I'd read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And so like, I'm excited about these new exciting ways to build wealth. And somewhere in this process, I remember I went to a St. Louis Cardinals games with one of my best friends at the time. And I was boasting to him about how I was confident by the end of the year that I would have at least 12 real estate investment properties. Yeah. Like that's how confident I was. I'm laughing because I don't own any. I'm like, I don't want to I probably should have more suspenseful buildup, but like, I don't own any. We ended up making this offer on a duplex, and I was really excited, like, oh, it was a good price. I don't know like what a good price is, but I put an offer on it. And I knew that my CPA was also heavily invested into real estate. So after I made the offer, he was willing to go to lunch with me, and I showed him like the property, showed him all the numbers, and he was just like, what are you doing? It's like, that I'm a real estate investor. Like, why would you not come talk to me before you make the offer? Because you are overpaying for this property. Like if the AC goes out, like you're in the hole. Like I don't remember how much it was. It was like $119,000, I think, was this duplex. And anyway, like it was, so thankfully I was able to get out of the deal, didn't even lose my earnest money, felt like a complete fool because I'm having to backtrack, to the realtor and just look like a complete doofus. And I just remember thinking, it's like, okay, I'm spending a lot of time driving around trying to find properties. I obviously don't know what I'm doing. I didn't feel confident in pursuing real estate anymore. And I realized, you know what? I've got a really good thing here going with the financial planning practice. I'm wasting so much time driving around when I could actually just spend more of that time reinvesting back into my business. That was already, making me good money. So I kind of just put all the real estate to the side and invested my time back into the business. The company I was working for ended up selling out. The brokerage firm sold, which is now Wells Fargo. They got swallowed by Wells Fargo. And that's when we ended up leaving and going independent. And that's when I read the article about blogging. And so I just think about like, it was definitely, I needed to go through that experience of like, okay, real estate works wonders for a lot of people. Obviously it's worked very well for yourself and thousands of others. At least for that time in my life, like it wasn't a good fit. And then I end up discovering another opportunity that helped me grow the financial planning practice and became a side hustle, which ended up becoming my main hustle to this day. The way I look at it is physical real estate didn't do so well. Digital real estate, it worked out very well.
I guess it goes to show, like, if you do want to pursue that kind of thing as an influencer, there's a lot of opportunity there. You can do that first crucial step of making a good, viable platform.
I mean, it's really, Dan Sullivan, I was in this coaching program called The Strategic Coach, and Dan Sullivan, he would call these strategic byproducts. And I think about in your own, like, real estate adventure, like, you don't know what you know until you put yourself out there, so then you start doing some research, you start making offers, you start connecting with other people, and all of a sudden, there are these opportunities that like you didn't even know existed literally fall in your lap just because you're willing to take a risk. Like you hear a lot of people say, oh, they just got lucky. It's like, no, it's because they took a risk. They put themselves out there. They made that phone call. They made that drive. They knocked on that door. They sent that text message. I got this text. I'm sure you've probably seen these. Like somebody texted me, hey, I don't want to intrude. Just curious, you might be selling your house. It's one of those.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like, I don't know who you are. I'm a little creeped out the fact that you have my cell phone number. That being said, I'm sure that they probably sent out hundreds or thousands of these, through some database or some CRM. And this person, and I'm sure they're getting a lot of like comments, text messages back, like, how did you get my number? But nonetheless, like they took a risk and they're willing to put themselves out there, and it's doing little things like that. Like that's when opportunities and luck find you.